The town of Moriocho is filled to the brim with many stand users who come and go throughout the plot of Diamond Is Not Crash, and all vary in importance to the events of the summer of 1999. Though if one person ended up being a major factor in Yoshikage Kira's escape from capture, it was the faithful fashionista furiously fixing female fates for favorable futures, Aya Tsuji in her stand, Cinderella. Aya Tsuji is a beautician who opened up her salon Cinderella in Moriocho to try to achieve her goal of bringing happiness to those around her like the fairy godbrother from her favorite story. She offers up a service that other salons just can't do, all thanks to her own knowledge, talent, and natural ability. She's also able to keep herself afloat off of the satisfaction of returning customers. But all this attention that she's attracted to her came back to bite her in the end. Though before we get too into that, we should discuss the meaning behind her name. Aya Tsuji is a pretty normal sounding name, and it works well with her intended role in life, as the characters used to make up the name when broken down means street or pathway to the prize or applaud. So altogether it is a path to the prize, or in a better wording, a path to success, which is the role that she plays in other people's lives, being able to bring people down the path to more success in life through her knowledge of physiognomy and of course her stand, Cinderella. Cinderella is a close-range humanoid stand with no lower body but an overall feminine design. Araki saying himself that it was inspired by a mixture of beauty shop tools mixed with dentistry tools. And we can see this since Cinderella appears to be built from a multitude of women's products, with its lower body being a perfume bottle with long tubing, the torso designed like a bra with breasts shaped like nail polish caps, and finally her head has both the eyes shaped like over-the-top large sunglasses you see a fashionista like Aya wear, and of course the top of the head being similar to a beehive hairstyle mixed with that of a birdcage. And this birdcage design might actually be a reference to how Aya metaphorically helps set free the beautiful bird within people she performs on. But the most important thing about Cinderella is its hands, and how it has built-in peeler blades on the side. These hands are what allow it to use its own ability, and that ability is fashioning fate. How fashioning fate works is Cinderella is able to remove certain segments of a person's body and replace them with more desirable features. Aya can determine which segments of a body should be changed via either her own knowledge or a computer program that she can use to make a CG render of the person. She can then modify this render till the parts of the person match up with one of the many different pseudosciences that Aya has studied and mastered. Then, by changing the person's feature to these standards, Aya can manipulate their fate as well as change the fate of those around them, specifically targeting those that the target had in mind when getting the changes done. This effect normally lasts only up to 30 minutes, and once the 30 minutes is up, the changes to the body, along with the changes to fate, vanish, much like how makeup can rub off. Aya uses this quote-unquote weakness of her stand to her advantage, building a business all around attracting repeat customers who are looking for those 30 minutes of happiness. Though if a person so desires it and are willing to pay Aya, she can make the changes permanent. Though this permanent changing to fate requires an immense amount of energy to maintain. Thus the person is required to apply a special lipstick created from Cinderella every 30 minutes for 24 hours, unless they are sleeping, to maintain the effects and keep the energy from tearing the person apart from inside. And even though it's never stated directly in the manga, I can assume that Cinderella could make this effect work on other beauty products outside of just lipstick, just in case lipstick doesn't work for the person specifically. And if they're able to show their own dedication by sticking to the requirements that Aya sets in place, they can reap the benefits from the changes. But if they falter, even for a moment, then the energy used to change their fate will soon become unstable and begin to unwind the person from within. Soon, not only will the energy begin to leak out and twist the person's body into an ugly mess, but on top of that, it will also begin to cause a complete and total collapse of the body from within. Though for the people that Aya really likes, she gives them a second chance to undo these changes made to them and their fates. Cinderella makes an exact copy of every face that it's ever changed, just in case it needs to fix the damage that it causes. But the person must find the face among dozens of different ones, and if they find the right one, they'll be fixed. But if they put on the wrong face, not only will they have the incorrect face mixed with their original, creating a permanent ugly face, but on top of that, the changes can't be undone, forcing the target to reap what they sow. Or at least that's how Aya wants you to believe how her ability works. For the most part, the stipulations that Cinderella's ability seems to have are put into place and enforced purely by Aya herself, as she wants to chase that high of being someone else's fairy godmother. Because you see, all of the negative effects of Cinderella's ability can be undone by Aya if she so wills it, as seen in the scene where Koichi picks out the face for Yukako, because we as a reader know that none of the faces on display are correct, since Aya tells us that herself. Aya's original plan and intention was to have Yukiko realize this, showing her that Yukiko could recognize her own inner beauty to a degree. But when Koichi shows his dedication to Yukiko and tells Aya to blind him if he's wrong, Aya heals Yukiko herself, making it seem like Koichi made the right choice, when his actual chances were 0. This is because Aya values a happy ending more than winning a fight. Then of course we have the evidence that suggests that Aya can make her changes permanent right away, when she swaps the face of Yoshikage Kira with Kosaku Kawajiri, as not only did Kira not have to apply some form of makeup to maintain his changes of this effect, but the swap persisted even after Aya's death, which makes me wonder what Kira's plan was after he blew her up if the face effect wasn't permanent. The only real weakness of Cinderella that I can really nail down is that Aya isn't lying when she says it requires a lot of energy to change people's fate. Fate is a very fickle and dangerous thing to play with in JoJo, and thus an ability to manipulate that must drain a lot of energy, which is represented by having Aya have a verbal tic where she exhales a lot, but she blames this on having low blood pressure. Along with this, Cinderella itself doesn't have much of, if any, physical strength, so it can easily be overpowered in a physical stand fight. Name-wise, Cinderella gets its name from two specific places, first confirmed via the Jump Redux, which gives us a glance behind the curtain about a lot of stand names influences, but in this case, Cinderella gets its name from the American glam rock band Cinderella, which started in 1982 and captured the attention of a multitude of different musicians and bands, such as Gene Simmons from Kiss, Poison, and even John Bon Jovi. They began touring with some of these bands and gained a lot of fans overseas, including Japan, which might be why it was chosen as an influence for JoJo. Then of course you have the other reference, which is directly stated in the series itself. Aya uses her stand to recreate scenes from her favorite story, Cinderella. First, of course, giving her power over someone and making their lives happier like a fairy godmother. And then you have the time limit for her stand's changes based on the till midnight stipulation from the story Cinderella. Aya even says that she wants to help girls down on their luck, much like Cinderella from the story, because she wants them to show the determination that that poor servant girl did. And then of course you have how Aya gives Yukiko the chance for redemption, calling it her glass slipper moment. And when Koichi finds the quote-unquote right face, it's when Prince Charming finds the person who matches the glass slipper. And it's these stories that help Aya shape her own rules and how she will use her stand Cinderella. Because without these self-imposed limitations, the stand itself is extremely powerful. One of the most powerful to ever grace the story, as not only is it a naturally formed stand from her desires and her own skills, but it has control over people's fate. As we see in the scene where Koichi's fate is altered yet again, with the world changing around him to make it so he grabbed the wrong bag by accident, causing him to have a reason to meet up with Yukiko again, and then you have all the incidents that led to their kiss. So imagine the fate-changing bullshit that could lead to you getting proposed to, or you making him submit like the price tag shows. It's so powerful that she is able to get you married to a celebrity for, wait, she'll do that for $7,000? No, that's 7,000 yen. Wait, let me punch that into an inflation calculator. $67. $67? You can marry a celebrity for $67 and fate will twist it to make sure it happens? This is so absurdly insane. Wait, 5,000 yen to marry into wealth? What? Why is celebrity higher than wealth? I can just make this happen too. What? Do these prices stack? Do I need to get both plans at once? What business plan is this? I guess she really didn't care about money. It's a good thing she died, or else the economy might have been in fucking shambles. Though speaking of her death, one of the things I thought was really interesting is what happened to Kira post her death. Cinderella has an ability to change the fates of those around her, specifically by operating on their fates most of the time. This change of fate is unnoticed by the people around them, so it's possible that she was the first one to plant the seeds into Kira's own defeat. Aya has even shown in past arcs that she can remain cool, collected, and in control during life or death situations, like when Yukiko threatens her life multiple times, so it's not out of character for her to subtly implant some sort of fate into Kira, who was threatening her at the time. She could have changed Kira's face in a specific way and aligned it with a fate that made Kosaku's family become more interested in him. Not only do we see a similar lovey-dovey reaction from Shinobu as we saw from Koichi, but Hayato was spying on his parents for an unknown reason. It was even before he suspected his father had changed in some way, which is an odd trait to have. Now, I'm not trying to say that Araki had these intentions for Aya from the beginning. I'm more so just having a fun bit of speculation with in-universe events using in-universe logic. At the end of the day, Aya is just someone who had a weirdly busted stand in the series, though she kept it under wraps with her own self-imposed ruling, which I find kind of funny since Rocky himself said he only added Aya and Cinderella to the story because he heard a lot of people talking about beauty salons and cosmetic surgery during the time that he was writing part 4, and he managed to turn her into one of the most important plot elements for the part. Now, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like it in the future, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/ManyNotTheBadGuy. And even though Aya's services may be retired, what you can do with that $67, the price of marrying a celebrity, is spend it on a copy of Shimonetta, a boring world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist, at buyshimonetta.com. It'll help you find that celebrity that you've always been looking for.